Why do gorillas have such big bellies? I'd never tell one that's got a big belly because they might not be best pleased. Can gorillas kill you? Can gorillas laugh? Sort of like a like noise as they're going through. Hello.
Hi,
okay. How you doing?
Do you know what you're doing today?
I believe I'm going to try and answer the most sort of commonly asked questions about gorillas. So I'll see how we go. Can gorillas swim? Gorillas are not good swimmers. They are very heavy, they're very dense. Best they can, they try and avoid going swimming, but they're not quite as agile as us. I think they probably tend to sink most of the time, yeah. They don't like water anyway. Like if it's raining, they'll probably sit on something so their bum doesn't get wet or put something on the top of their head. Yeah, they don't like water at all. Why do gorillas have such big bellies? So they don't all necessarily have big bellies, but there are some, I think particularly the ones that eat a little bit more, will have that slightly bigger belly. Particularly when you see a big old silverback as well, you can see him, he's all big, stocky shoulders and the little belly coming out. Things to do with a lot of their digestion and what they eat, and they will strip bark off trees, they'll eat leaves and a lot of cellulose, and they've got to digest that, so they have a slightly different system than we do, and sometimes that can give them that bloated look, but I'd never tell one that's got a big belly because they might not be best pleased. Can gorillas swing from trees? So they can. They're not amazing at it. They're better than we are, 100%, but they are exceptionally heavy animals. So they do spend a lot of their lifetime in the trees and they can climb, and they can swing around, but it tends to be the lighter ones, the younger ones, and the females, for example. So the silverbacks can climb and swing to a degree, but they weigh 180 to 200 kilograms. There's not a lot of branches that can always hold them. They can swing, but better than we can, but in terms of other primates, not amazingly well. Can gorillas kill you? Yeah, they probably could, is the honest answer. I don't think they would tend to. They're out of a lot of wild animals, and particularly great apes, they're not the most aggressive. But on the whole, a lot of the time, they might not even intentionally aim to kill you. They might hit you, and that could be enough, to be honest. They're not going to try and eat you or anything like that. I'd much rather find a gorilla than any sort of big cat, and definitely more so than a chimpanzee. So yes, they can, but they probably won't if you're sensible, I'd say, yeah. Can gorillas laugh? I would say they definitely can laugh, they definitely can. Not maybe in the exact same sense that we can, but you can see facial expressions and sort of examples of happiness particularly when they're playing, and especially in the youngsters, they'll tickle each other, they'll play fight, they'll chase each other, and you'll see their mouths open quite wide and they'll be playful, and they also make quite a lot of noises as they're doing it, sort of like a like noise as they're going through. So yes, I'd say they definitely can laugh, and they find things funny. And they do like to mess around with one another, yeah. And for all their massive size, they can actually be quite gentle, particularly with a small youngster or something. Do gorillas eat bananas? So I guess the short answer is yes, they do. Out in the wild, they're more likely to eat banana. But the bananas they have there are less high in sugars. They're less cultivated for our palate, like the ones we have here. So if you're in a zoo environment, you're probably not going to give them much fruit at all. They would love it, but it's sort of like giving them chocolate, really. It's very high in sugar, and they probably won't eat anything else. So the sweetest things we give them tend to be root vegetables, so sweet potato, carrots, and then also sweet corn and peppers, that sort of thing. I think banana would be a very special occasion type of treat, yeah. I think it is more just films and things like that. It's so ingrained in your mind as they eat bananas, and if they find one, they'll eat it, but they won't. It's not a major part of their diet, no. Why do gorillas have big nostrils? I don't know exactly why it's bigger than many other of the primate species per se, but they will definitely use it in terms of looking for food and that sort of thing, but they tend to forage more with their hands and their eyes looking for food. If I were to hazard a guess, I'd say it's more just to sort of keep an eye on the group, figure out if there's any other smells of silverbacks and other gorillas coming nearby as well. So when a silverback is quite agitated, he lets off a particular smell. I think it smells a little bit like BO. I don't know exactly why it's bigger than any others, no.
The answer is actually because they have big fingers.
Oh, is it? Because they have big fingers. Fair enough, to be fair. If you do see any in the zoo, they pick their nose a lot, and they do eat it every now and then. You will see that. Yeah, they have no shame in that. Why do gorillas beat their chests? So yeah, it's a very common trait you'll see. A lot of people will see the gorillas standing up tall, beating their chests, looking very impressive. One thing is definitely with the big males, it's a show of size, a show of strength. Look at me, I'm this big. If they can avoid it, they won't come to blows if they can. It's definitely a show-off display mechanism. If you see a big silverback doing that and you're a bit smaller, maybe it's not in your interest to go and fight them, that sort of thing. But you see it a lot in the youngsters as well, particularly the younger males. So Gernot we have here at the zoo, he is 5 years old, nearly 6, and he does it all the time. He's smacking his chest. And right now it's sometimes in play. He does it towards his sister or when he's waiting for food. But all of that play is brilliant for when he grows up to become a big silverback. He's got that ingrained in him. So he's learning as he goes. But it's definitely a show of strength, I'd say. It's funny, like some I sort of expected, some I didn't, I would say. It's, I think the questions people Google are never the ones you expect. Like, I may know some of the sciencey stuff about gorilla, but probably not been asked half the things about this. Like, you don't often get asked if they can swim, for example, or why they have big noses. But you never know what you're going to expect, and definitely can be thrown by any sort of questions that are Googled. So yeah, keep them coming. I think they're good.